They say that Greenbrier Woods go quiet when something's wrong. I'd worked as a ranger for almost a decade, and I heard all of the stories. People going missing, strange sightings, voices that didn't belong to anyone. Until the fall of 2017. It was early September when the storm rolled in, sudden and fast. I was sent out to assess trail damage, making sure nobody had gotten themselves stranded. By dusk, the rain had picked up, and the radio chatter said to stay put for the night. The closest shelter was the old Greenbrier station. It hadn't been used in years, but it was still standing. I pulled up just as the last bit of light drained from the sky. The cabin creaked as I stepped inside, dust rising in the beam of my flashlight. Same warped floorboards, same crooked stove in the corner. It smelled like damp wood and old coffee. I lit a fire, brewed something bitter and hot, and settled into the silence. Outside, the storm thrashed the trees. Rain hammered the tin roof. And beneath it all, a deeper quiet pressed in. The forest seemed to pause. It must have been around 10 p.m. when the knock came. Not a polite tap. It was frantic, desperate. Someone slamming the flat of their hand against the door. I grabbed my flashlight and cracked it open. She stumbled in, barefoot, soaked to the bone, hair plastered to her face. She appeared young, maybe late 20s, wearing soaked pajamas like she'd run straight out of a bedroom and into hell. Her eyes scanned every corner of the room, wide and wild. I don't know where else to go, she said. It's behind me. I shut the door fast and bolted it. She stood there shivering, arms wrapped around herself. What's behind you? I asked. She shook her head. I don't know, but it's big. It doesn't chase. It just shows up, stays behind trees. When I look away, it gets closer. An animal? No, she said immediately, like I insulted her. Not an animal. She sat down by the fire, still glancing at the window like something might be staring back. I gave her a blanket and a mug of coffee. My name's Mark. I'm a ranger here. She hesitated, but replied, Lena. We didn't say much else for a while. The fire crackled, the storm howled, and every so often she'd jerk her head toward the window, like she heard something moving out there. That's when I started hearing it too. Lena refused to sit with her back to the windows. I didn't blame her. The wind had slowed, but the woods hadn't gone back to normal. There were no frogs, no owls, not even the sound of rain dripping through the leaves. Just stillness. The lights flickered once, an overhead bulb buzzing faintly, like it didn't want to be on. I glanced at the breaker box, then back at Lena. She hadn't moved, just stared into the dark beyond the glass. You said it followed you, I said. From where? She didn't answer right away, but then went on. I went hiking yesterday. Camped overnight about 4 miles north of here. I was alone. I didn't say anything, just waited. It started with sounds, like something walking just behind me, but every time I turned, there was nothing. Outside, something rustled the leaves. I grabbed the flashlight and stepped onto the back porch, just to be sure. The beam cut across wet brush and moss, catching nothing, at first. Then I saw it, etched into the side of a pine tree, just beyond the clearing, a crude, spiraling symbol. It looked burned in. It was not there when I arrived. I slowly backed into the cabin, locked the door behind me. Lena was already watching, You saw it too, didn't you? We sat in silence, barely breathing. Then, a noise overhead. A soft thud. Not a branch. Heavier than that. Something stepping. We both listened. A second footstep. Slow. Deliberate. Moving across the floor. Lena clamped her hands over her ears and shut her eyes. "It's trying to make me leave," she whispered. I stood slowly and killed the light. We waited. Outside, the window, something passed by. Not a shape exactly, but the space it moved through seemed to get darker. Like it didn't block the light, it erased it. I reached for the rifle on the wall, not because I thought it would help, just because holding it made me feel like I still had control of something. She shivered, eyes darting toward the dark windows. "I don't know what it is. I just know it's out there." Her voice was barely a whisper. "It doesn't make sense, but I can feel it watching, waiting." Thunder rolled again, closer this time. The wind moaned through the trees. We weren't alone. A cold draft swept through the cabin. Even though all the windows were shut, the light continued to flicker. "I think it's closer," Lena whispered, stepping away from the window. Something creaked from the back of the cabin. Not the roof this time. Inside. I turned toward the hall, rifle raised. "Stay here," I told her. She grabbed my arm. "Don't leave me alone." We both moved toward the noise. The storage room door was cracked open. I didn't remember it being open earlier. Inside, the lanterns, flares, and old first aid kits had been stacked into a neat pile on the floor. Around it, scratches, dozens of them, forming a circle of crude, spiral symbols gouged into the wood. Lena stood behind me, staring at them. Her lips moved, mouthing something silently, like she was trying to read them without realizing. A thump. Above us this time. The attic. The symbols on the floor seemed to shift under the lamplight. Not move, but blur, like my eyes couldn't stay focused on them. I stepped backward. "We need to go." "No," Lena whispered, still staring. "We can't go now." "Why not?" "Because it's already in now." The attic creaked again. Something was walking slowly above us, heel to toe, heel to toe. Then silence. Finally, a breath. Long, low, wet. It was coming from the hallway we just came down. I raised the rifle, heart thundering. Nothing was there. But something was. "We're leaving," I said, grabbing Lena's wrist. She didn't argue this time. We burst out of the storage room and into the front of the cabin. I yanked the door open. Wind howled in, spraying needles of rain across the floor. The storm was worse now, like the force itself was trying to push us back in. I held the flashlight out into the trees. Nothing. But the dark between them felt deeper than night, thick like tar. "Run to the truck," I said. We made it off the porch. The rain slapped hard against us. I kept scanning the tree line, the windows, the roof. Every shadow looked wrong. We reached the truck. Keys. God, the keys were still inside the cabin. I turned, ready to make a run for it. That's when I heard her scream. I spun just in time to see Lena being yanked backward, her arms flailing, heels carving trenches in the mud. Something had her by the shoulders, or her hair. I couldn't tell. It dragged her like she weighed nothing. She hit the cabin wall. Then the window shattered behind her. Glass exploded. Her scream tore through the woods. Then, gone. The window empty. Just the rain. Just me. I ran to the wall. Looked through the busted pane. Nothing. Not inside. Not outside. Just the sound of the storm and the quiet, deliberate knock, knock, knock from somewhere upstairs. I didn't go back inside. I was too afraid. I just stayed in the truck, soaking wet, hands shaking and gripped on the steering wheel. Just sat there, paralyzed, until the sky began to lighten. Hours passed. I don't remember most of them. When morning came, the woods looked ordinary again. There was no blood, no footprints, no broken glass in the mud. The window Lena was dragged through was intact. But Lena was gone. Nothing left behind but her muddy footprints in the hallway. Those were real. I saw them, counted them. I filed the report. I said she was a hiker I found frightened and cold, and she wandered off during the storm. I didn't say what I saw. Who would believe me? I've gone back since. Once. The ranger station is still there. Empty. But that night's still with me. Not in dreams. I don't sleep enough for that. It's in the way the trees shift when the wind dies. The way silence feels heavier than it should. Sometimes, I swear I see her in the corner of my eye, still barefoot, still running, and still being chased.